Today we will try to experience the maybe quite astonishing effects of becoming just a little bit more aware of our physical selves, a kind of embodiment practice, if you will, or mindfulness practice. Because maybe it might just blow your mind. And as an example, I will use the much requested topic of shoulder and neck tightness. And we will start right away with this little exploration, step by step, or maybe thought by thought, word by word. So as a first step, please put your right hand onto your left shoulder, or if you're left-handed, it might be better to put your left hand onto your right shoulder. So put your hand onto your shoulder and they fit nicely into each other, don't they? The palm has a little bit of a concave structure, a little depression here, and the shoulder is nicely round, convex, and they just snuggle together quite nicely. And let your elbow hang down, let your elbow hang, rest on your chest, rest on the chest, it rhymes. And just give yourself a couple of seconds just to let the hand fuse in a way with the shoulder. So how do you actually hold your hand up there? So if you start to relax your arm, if you start to relax the shoulder of your exploring arm, how do you hold on to your shoulder so that the hand does not fall? So you need a little bit of tension, so that's something we can become aware of first. And actually your fingertips might feel that there are some bones to hold on. So if you reach around your shoulder just a little bit, you will feel there's almost like a door handle, a longish European door handle, not an American one, or maybe a stick. That's a part of your shoulder blade actually. So you can feel, if you reach around your shoulder, you can feel your shoulder blade. And there's a couple of ways to feel bones in your body. One, of course, is to use your fingertips gently, nicely, softly to rub left and right and up and down to identify the bone, the bony structures, or you just rest your hand. Yes, in the sense of resting. The hand does not move, but you move your shoulder a little bit. So you move your shoulder a little bit up and down and left and right. So the bones move underneath the surface, and then your fingers can detect the shape of your shoulder blade. So try to feel, where does your shoulder blade start? So the proximal and the medial border of your shoulder blade. Can you feel where does your shoulder blade start? And then walk your hand along the spine of the shoulder blade, that's the stick to the outside border, to the shoulder, to the actual end of the shoulder. There's the deltoid muscle, this big, nicely shaped round muscles. This spine, and the spine becomes a little hook, a little platform actually. And they call it the acromion. It's a little platform, and the little platform then becomes cartilage and tendons and little gel paddings, and then it becomes the clavicle, the collarbone. So in front, so try to find that now, try to find the collarbone. And the collarbone is not that straight. The collarbone might be twisted and it might have curves, and walk along the collarbone, or you move your shoulder a little bit up and down and forwards and backwards. Just move around to get a feeling. So this is more of an anatomy class suddenly, isn't it? And we get to know our shoulder one after the other by sensing, thinking, moving and feeling, by gently identifying the structures of the shoulders. So move your fingers to the outmost bone you can find, which will either be the acromion or maybe something on the head of the humerus outside, not the bone of course, but maybe some gel paddings or some tendons or muscles, big deltoid muscles, and then run your fingers carefully, very gently, lovingly over your clavicle, inwards towards your sternum, and see where does your clavicle end, your collarbone. Where is the end of the collarbone? And there at the end you will find this little knob. It is a little knob, the sternoclavicular joint, which connects your sternum to your clavicle, hence the name. It's a joint, it forms with the upper part of the sternum, the manubrium. There's a little plate here, and then the sternum is the chest bone, the bone in front of your chest. And let's have a look at that too. Can you feel the chest bone? You might hit it. It's quite sternum. It's like a plate, like that's where the name comes from, the sternum. And to the side of the sternum, you might, if you have your fingers very soft, you might identify a couple of ribs. Because actually, the sternum has notches, not like an iPhone notch, but it has like a notch where the ribs go into. So it has like 7 of them on the side. And you might identify a rib with your fingers. And then when you walk the rib, alongside the rib, you might find your sternum. And where is the first rib? Where is the second rib? Not so easy to find, the second and the first rib. So of course you end up at your collarbone. So that's the most prominent structure here, the most easy to find thing. And there's the knob of the collarbone. It is a little knob, the sternoclavicular joint. And underneath the collarbone is the first rib. Actually, put the base joint of your first finger, of your index finger, on this little knob, on the sternum. What is it? On the end of the collarbone, and then your finger alongside the collarbone. And when you lift your shoulder, it's like opening a MacBook. You can feel the collarbone does move on the distal end, up and down, but it does not move at the sternum. So when you lift and lower your shoulder, or bring the shoulder a little bit forwards and backwards, there's a little movement at the very beginning of the collarbone, but not much. The closer you come to the beginning, the less movement there is. And the sternum, kind of, it's just like a wall. A sternum is just there. And the clavicle moves close to your chest a little bit, and on the outside it moves quite a lot. So that's the front side and the back side. And then, of course, when you move to the outside of your arm, there's the humerus. There's like one big bone inside your upper arm, but the bone is not so easy to feel because of the muscle. It's quite big. So the shoulder blade has the spine of the shoulder blade. If you return to this longish bone, and then it becomes the acromion, a little platform or hook, and then it becomes, when you go around, the collarbone. But there's another little hook from the neck of the shoulder blade. Deep inside, there's another protrusion coming out. They call it the coracoid process. To find it, the first thing you want to do is to make your fingers extra soft and then find your clavicle and the head of your humerus, and they form a little corner, and in the inside part of the corner. So you might find that's a little bit soft too, this area, and keep your fingers soft. And then when you softly, gently search in the edge of the corner, you will find a little island, a little bumpy little thing. Almost like a dumpling in a bowl of cheese sauce, very thick cheese sauce. So that's your coracoid process, covered by the many muscles that attach to it. So you won't feel the bone itself probably, but you can push the muscles around a little bit. Also, this is actually part of your shoulder blade. So how crazy is that, to be able to touch the shoulder blade from the front side? So this coracoid process, it doesn't move on its own. It moves up when you move your shoulder blade up, and it moves down when you move the shoulder blade down. It's almost like the nose moves together with the face. The nose doesn't move on its own. And so this little process, this little bony bit of the shoulder blade you can touch from the front side. It moves forward if you move the shoulder forward, and backwards if you move the shoulder backwards. So this is your original. You are the original. This is the original anatomy. And you might want to look the anatomy up in an app or in a book. But remember, the book is just a drawing. That's not from a person who lived. You are the person who is living, and you had the parents and the grandparents and the whole lineage. So maybe don't look in the book as an authority and see if you match to the book, but the other way around. Now that you did this exploration, maybe look it up in a book and see if the book matches to you, to what you have found here in this little exploration. So then, of course, take a rest, let your exploring arm go down, hang down, and feel what this little exploration did for you. If the shoulder you have looked at with your inner eye and with your exploring hand, if that shoulder became a little bit lighter, a little bit smoother in its movements, maybe you feel the shoulder blade move in and out and up and down, and the clavicle bone forwards and backwards, it might feel quite a bit looser. And some of the tension might have just disappeared. Isn't this interesting? How such a little exploration can make a difference? Or did it?